Well, not everybody can do everything on the same day sometimes. So this is Rebecca Straley with Go Straley Group, and I wanted to talk to you about pre-settlement and post-settlement addendums. These are GCAAR addendums that are written by, this is GCAAR Form 1307, Pre-Settlement Limited Access, and it will be for the DC marketplace. So pre-settlement limited access. That means you're not going to live there, but maybe you want to put some stuff there. We're going to take a look at the contract terms here and see how we fill in the blanks. We're not actually looking at the meaning of the forms as much as completing the forms in this video. So we're going to put the contract of sale date, the address, city, state, zip, and the names of the buyers and the sellers, and make sure that you have all names and all agreement as you're writing any addendum. So this is if the buyer wants access, so it's limited access. And so the buyer is going to have limited access, which does not include occupancy. It makes it very clear from what date until what date. It could just be that they need to move some furniture in there, and so maybe it's just one day, or maybe it's a week. And then is there going to be a license fee, a daily fee? And if so, put in that, that number. Buyer shall pay seller on or before settlement or some given day that's agreed upon the sum of, which covers the license period for the total amount a day. So this is daily, and this is the total amount. And then here's the authorized acts for this limited access. They could store furniture, they could perform modifications, or something else. Not sure what that might be, but here you go. Pick A, B, or C. Or maybe they're going to store furniture and they are going to make modifications, and maybe something else. So check what applies and make sure that you have those boxes checked. So is there going to be a deposit? If there's no deposit, then put NA, not applicable, or 0 with a line through it, so everybody is quite clear. And then it goes through the risk of loss and that there's no tenant relationship occurring here. It is called a pre-settlement limited access addendum. Make sure the sellers and the buyers sign and date. That would be GCAAR Form 1307. But sometimes they want to occupy when they pre-settle. Maybe they want to do those other things, but they need to live there also. So this form is for Washington, D.C., and if the greater than 60 days, use appropriate jurisdictional lease. So this form can be used if it's 60 days or less for pre-occupancy. So we fill in the contract sale date, address, city, state, zip, and the parties. Make sure you have all their names. And we're going to talk about the occupancy and deposit. So the time and the money is what's most important on a pre-settlement occupancy agreement. So sellers grant buyers the license to occupy the property from such and such a date, and here it's till settlement because it's before we've gone to settlement. So on settlement date, they'll own it. And how much are they going to pay per day? And when are they going to pay it? So put the date in here that they promised to pay the seller on or before a particular date. So this would be like a month, day, and year. And then the sum, which covers the whole occupancy period. So make sure that you know the number of days and how much per day, and then put in that total amount. And they just want you to complete that information here so there's no discrepancy or confusion when it comes time to pay and go to settlement. And then is there going to be a deposit? And if so, what is the deposit amount? And that's it for your pre-occupancy agreement. Buyers, sellers sign, date, and then they can have a great closing knowing that they've taken care of each other along the way. But sometimes it's the sellers that can't move on the date. And so they need a post-settlement occupancy addendum, meaning that they need to stay there a little bit longer. So they're going to go to closing. They're going to receive their funds for selling their house, but maybe they'll stay there another 30 days. So in order to do that, we need to use this post-settlement occupancy addendum, which is GCAAR form 1309. So very simply, we address the parties. And then we're going to talk about the time and the money, the occupancy and the deposit. Make sure that all blanks are filled out. And if they do not apply, then just put an NA. Do not leave them blank. So the buyer hereby grants the seller, because now the buyer owns the property. So he's going to allow the seller to remain in possession from the settlement date, that would be the beginning, through whatever date it is, and upon payment of the amount of, which shall be deducted from the seller's proceeds at settlement. The amount paid for this license is based upon the daily license fee. So here they have the daily license fee listed here, but the aggregate amount, the full amount up here, and the date that they are going to move out will be identified. The deposit amount. So let's say it's $2,000 of the proceeds of the sale shall be retained by home, because you don't necessarily want to give this to the buyer or to the other party. You want it to be held by a third party. So decide who's going to be holding it there and make sure that you identify the total amount and who's going to hold the deposit. And then the contract takes care of the conditions and what will happen next. So when they move out, since the buyers now own it, they have to have a final inspection, and the final inspection shall take place at a particular time. So we're making this agreement so everything's decided ahead of time at the time that the parties want to post-occupy is the best time to address all the details. So here we say we're going to fill in all the blanks. The final inspection shall take place at 5 p.m., check the p.m., on May 1, 2018, or such other date. So just make sure that you fill in all the blanks and that everybody has agreed upon, so that we're setting the right expectations and end up with very happy buyers and sellers. So here you have the seller sign and the buyer sign, but you also need the escrow agent to sign acknowledging that they have receipt of the deposit. And so that is your three forms, the 1309, which is your post-occupancy form. And it could be that you wanted a pre-occupancy, which would be 1308, which we reviewed. And also 1307 is the limited access addendum. So that's all your occupancy addendums for today. Have a great day, and I look forward to talking to you soon.